Oh, good afternoon. We're going to be stretching the muscles, the part of the body of the arms, the chest, and the upper back today. So, one of the things that would be great is if you could grab a strap. I don't know if you have any kind of exercise strap or yoga strap, but one of the things you can use um, is a bathrobe tie or a long necktie. Necktie, bathrobe tie, anything that's pretty long enough for your arms to stretch out and hold the strap straight. So go ahead and run and get something, because if you're going to be practicing with me today, this will be a really good tool. And I want you to make sure that it's taut, not so you can't use like those exercise bands that are spongy or rubbery. That won't work. So you have to be able to hold it taut with no give, okay, or limited give. So first, let's just talk about this area of the body, right? We can be really super tight in the shoulders, in the chest. Part of that is our lifestyle again. When we're rolling forward, when we're on the computer or texting, we have this rounded shoulder forward. This is closing off. We have a huge muscle called the pectoralis, and it comes here into the chest. It attaches along your sternum, and then it moves across into the upper arm here. In fact, if you reached under your armpit right here and you took a big squeeze, you could feel that pectoralis muscle. And if you pushed right where it attached into the bone, it might be pretty sore. So we're going to really work on this area of the body. And the arm itself, this is the only movement of the arm. The shoulder has a full rotation, so we can move a little bit more in the upper part. But it is a little bit harder to move the lower part of the body, but we're going to do our best to stretch all of that. Okay, so let's do that. Let's start with the lower part of the arm, and let's work our way up. So first, what I want you to do is get comfortable, and you're going to turn your hand around so that the palm is facing up, and then place it down on the ground. So this is going to be a big stretch up this part of the arm. Now you can do it both sides at the same time. And if it's too much, obviously just do one side. Right? You're probably going to notice that the right side is tighter than the left side because of all of well, first of all, if you're right-handed, you use that more. If you're working on a mouse on a computer, the right hand's getting that extra work. So again, this is really going to be tight in the wrist and lower part of the arm, the forearm, the back side of the forearm. So with my yoga background, I always say to breathe while you're doing any kind of stretching. I really think that it helps if you do deep breathing. But even just doing this, even if you were talking like I am, you're still getting a good stretch, right? So we really want to get that. Again, some of these muscles might be really chronically tight. And for some of you, you might be even feeling like a issue with your wrist. One of the stretch classes that we're going to do later is going to be just for the wrist and hand. We're going to be doing something for to prevent carpal tunnel or carpal tunnel syndrome, which you might have heard of, right? So how long do you hold a stretch? Anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes, I would say, is a good average. So whatever feels good for you, okay? All right, so we're going to come out of that and maybe just roll your wrists a little bit just to get them moving a little bit again. Okay, so that was a really good stretch for the wrist and up into this part of the arm. How do we stretch this part of the arm is a little bit difficult. So if you take one arm straight out and hold underneath the elbow, and then just turn the wrist down, right? Turn the palm down. You can kind of feel a slight stretch here in the arm. Then if you took the arm across, you'll notice you don't feel as much of it because of the bend in the elbow, right? So we really want to kind of keep the arm straight to get that stretch. So now what we can do is we can put the top part of the hand down on the floor. So again, you can do that one or both sides at the same time. And so now feel how we're getting this other side of the arm. The lower part, I was still working on that lower part of the arm and around the wrist area. I do this seated because I don't want to put too much pressure in the wrist. I want to get enough pressure in the wrist, but not too much. And this is a really good stretch because we're normally having our palms facing down, right? So this stretch might feel like really, really good, really different. Oh, here comes my dog. He stretches all day long. So we're getting in that lower arm, and that's feeling pretty good. Right. No magical number or length of time to stay with it, just however you want. If you're not sure how it's affecting you, you can come off, you can kind of feel, oh yeah, like especially for me, this wrist, the one that I was just spending a lot of time this morning on the computer, so this was my mouse hand, and I really feel tight there. So I'm getting some blood and circulation flowing through that joint, and the muscles are getting a good stretch. So remember, as we're doing the stretches of the arm and the upper body today, if you get uncomfortable, just change the way you're sitting. It's not important to sit a certain way, okay? So now we're going to move into this upper part of the body, and we have some of the deltoid muscle up here, which is a really big muscle. So one quick way to give that a stretch is keep your chest and trunk facing forward. Take an arm out and bring it across. Now, this doesn't matter if the elbow bends or not because we're working in the upper part of the arm. So if you grab the elbow or the upper arm with the other hand and pull it over, you're going to feel this stretch here, right? And just try to keep the arm up above the chest. Okay, so that's a really good stretch. And you'll feel this again, you feel this in the upper arm here. You will also kind of feel it in the back of the shoulder, the upper back. There's another way to do this with the floor. So I'm just going to show you really quickly and then I'll come back up. But for those of you who want to kind of lean this arm on the floor, and it might be a more intense stretch, but if you need it, you come up on your hands and knees. And we call this one thread the needle, where you bring your arm through and come onto the shoulder. And the other arm can stay here or stretch. So see into that, feel into that a little bit. However you want to get that arm. We're going to hold it for another maybe 30 seconds and then do the other side. So stay with me. Good. Let's release that and let's just roll that shoulder around a couple times, right? And maybe if you haven't stretched the arm in a while, you're going to feel like tingling or heat or something moving in your arm. So check that out. That's always fun. That's how you know energy is flowing again. So now we're going to do the other arm. If you bring it across and grab it either with your hand or elbow and just pull it over without twisting your chest. Pull it to the side. I did show you the version of thread the needle on your knees if you want to tuck the arm under and do it that way. Again, this is getting it the same way. And I'm always just kind of noticing, you know, is one arm tighter than the other? Sometimes the more dominant hand, the one that you use to open things and all kinds of stuff, that might be the one that's tighter because you use those muscles more. Sometimes it's the other arm because we don't use the muscles. So, you know, you have to kind of figure out for you what's the best one there. So just take a couple more deep breaths and just feel this big pull here, big stretch here. Feeling good. Again, we're getting energy flowing. Now, as you can imagine, these stretches here, where we're bringing the arm across the chest, we're actually not stretching the chest at all. We're stretching the upper back. So this will feel comfortable, but in a moment, some of the stretches that we're going to do for the chest are going to be really big, and they're going to be more challenging because probably those muscles are a lot tighter. All right, so I'm going to release that arm. Oh, see, it feels a little clunky and tight. And then just roll that shoulder a couple of times. You're going to feel some energy flowing in that arm. I feel like tingling. I can tell I've been on the computer all morning, so things are not flowing. All right, so now I want you to grab the strap that I asked you to get. If you don't have one, take your sweater off and use the arm of the sweater. If it's long enough, or the whole sweater. So when you have the strap, you're going to hold it in front of you like this, taut. Taut means no slack, right? So holding it taut, and I want you to make sure you're not bending or twisting your wrists. Keep your wrists nice and straight. Now we're going to stretch the arms up over the head and try to keep the shoulders in. And just take a couple of deep breaths and really elongate your spine as you're coming up here. Now, some folks, this is difficult. Again, I can feel in the one shoulder a lot more tension than on the other side. So I'm just going to be really careful there. And we're just going to breathe. If you find yourself getting tired, you're going to have to really focus on breathing and staying present. If you need to stop, stop. Right? No one's making you do it, so it's all good. And if you need to stop, what you can do is come down. Of course, I have a dog in my way. Keep the strap taut in front of your chest, or release it further and then bring it back up again. And sometimes when you do things 2 or 3 times in a row, it really starts to open the energy up. Right? I'm going to release that and shake out my shoulders a little bit, and then I'm going to show you the next version. So I have to open the strap even a little bit wider with my hands to do the next part, because the next part is bringing it behind me. So here, I can bring my arms up, but I can't go back. I don't have any room. So if I open my arms a little bit wider and keep those wrists straight, I can bring the strap down behind my head. Now I can start to feel a bigger chest stretch, right? This one's really, really big. So I want you to look up maybe, keep your heart open, keep your chest open. These are stretches everyone needs, especially if you're on your computer and phone a lot, which, let's face it, who's not? Who's not? We live on our phone, right? So full breathing, got to really open that chest. If your neck gets tight or starts to hurt, just release it. You can look down if looking up gets too much. And take another couple of deep breaths. Okay, and then you're going to bring that strap up and down. Woo! Shake out those arms again. So it's good to kind of shake out the wrists. It's good to rotate the shoulders a little bit and just get the whole stretch in those arms. I'm really feeling a lot of energy flow, so I must have really been this way quite a bit. So notice that for you if you're feeling lots of either flooding of like the circulation is coming back to your arms, or pins and needles or tingling. All of these kind of sensations might tell you that, you know, there's something's been a little bit out of whack there. So the next stretch we're going to do is hands around the back. Now you can use your strap if you can't clasp your hands behind your back, and you would just reach around and grab it. Otherwise, we're going to bring the arms out and we're going to turn the palms down. In fact, you can do that a couple times. Turn the palms up and down and kind of feel that rotation. Gives you a sense of all the muscles in your arms, right? Now, when you turn the palms down, reach around and see if you can clasp those hands behind you. Now, there's a couple of things with clasping the hands. Some of you will just barely get them behind the back, where your fingers are barely touching. That's okay. Some of you are more flexible and you're going to have your palms touching behind the back. It doesn't matter to me. I just want you to pull the arms down. So pull your knuckles towards the floor, look up, and if you're able to move the arms away from the body, go for it, okay? So either way, we're going to just breathe. So I feel a little something back there twinging. I'm going to use the strap instead today, where I can hold the strap and pull the arms back. And we're just breathing into the heart, breathing into the chest. Here's second puppy. Now she's stretching, showing off. Look at them. So cute. Deep breathing, everybody. Got to open that chest. We don't stretch this enough, so we really, really need to get into that. In fact, maybe set a little stopwatch if you're going to be on your computer, if you're working on a project or writing or even just whatever you're doing on the computer. If you set a little stopwatch every 20 minutes to do this stretch, and then that way you'll be combating some of that new posturing that's collapsing you and bringing you forward. Okay, so I'm going to release that now. And this time I want you to roll the shoulders a little bit more and just notice maybe things are getting looser in the arm. And I'm going to show you another way to do that stretch. It's a little bit different. I have to turn around to show you. So when you reached around the back and your thumbs were down and you clasped your hands, the palms were towards each other, correct? So what you'll notice is this inward rotation, right? I'm rotating the arm or humerus bone inward to bring it back. That means it's still pulling the shoulder forward, right? So even though I'm getting a clasp and I'm pulling my shoulders back, this basic nature is allowing this pectoralis muscle to stay slightly tightened. This next way to do this stretch is actually going to open you fully and completely, but it's going to be super challenging for some of you. So only try this if you feel open to it. And I'm going to show you from the side. And this is a little bit challenging. I think you can all see me pretty good. So when we took the hands behind the back and you clasped here, you see how my hands are? Well, what I want to do is actually open up my arms. So I'm going to take the thumb down. So take your hands, move your thumbs towards the floor, and then keep your hands clasped and can open the whole wrist to the back. You see how I did that? So hands clasped, then I'm going to open the thumbs, point them down, and continue to rotate my wrist until they're pointing back behind me and open. All right? Now notice what the arm is doing. It's the opposite stretch, right? So instead of internally rotating and clasping, by the nature of rotating my wrist, I'm now fully open in the chest there, right? It's hard to reach around with your thumbs up and clasp the hands. So you have to go down and do that rotation. And then, wow, this really, really feels open in the chest. So just keep breathing there. This is a big one, but it's so gorgeous, so lovely. You get a really good stretch into your heart. Sometimes when I show people that stretch, they're like, oh my goodness. Even people that have practiced yoga for years and years and years will go, wow, it's a totally different stretch. It's really, really a deep stretch. All right, so we're going to take that and just, for as long as you can. So yes, you can use the strap for this one too. If you can't clasp your hands, the other way would be to grab the strap, but you have to have your hands over the strap this way so that you can rotate the thumbs up and pull back. Okay, so Yes, that's another way to do that stretch. All right, let's release that and shake it out. Ooh, and maybe those arms are feeling really open now. So the next couple poses are really going to test if we have created flexibility. We're going to grab the strap again. And we're going to hold it taut. Again, the wrist straight, we're going to bring it up over the head. Now, remember we took it down before, we took it behind the head. Maybe some of you didn't, but see if you can do it. So like when I do it now, I can feel how much easier it is to take it down. In fact, I can go down further. I can go down in front of my, or behind my back. I can take it way much further than I could a minute ago. And then you can come back up and come in from a front of the chest. So this is kind of like a moving stretch. You come up, so you have to get it over your head. Your strap is tight. Bring it down behind the back. Bring it up and in front of the chest. So do this a couple of times. Remember that if you are getting pins and needles in your legs, stretch them out, because we're really focusing on the arms, chest, and upper back today in this stretching. And I can just feel how my whole arm and chest and upper back are getting really supple and open as I do these. Like less shaking, definitely more stretch. Okay, we're going to come up, relieve that for a minute. Maybe take a couple of shoulder shrugs. So here we inhale up and just let them go. And you can do that a couple of times and just shake out the arms again. I'm kind of noticing quite a bit of energy in the arm area, right? So far we have stretched the lower arm this way and then this way. We then took the upper arm and we stretched it across. We stretched both arms above the head with the strap. We moved them back a little bit. We did the hands behind the back where we interlaced the fingers. Then I showed you the twist on that where you rotated the palms behind you, right? And gave you that bigger stretch. And then we came back to the full stretch and did that rotation behind the chest and behind and in front of the chest, right? Okay, so now this next stretch is the biggest one, I think, personally, for the shoulder and the chest, because it kind of gets all those pieces. So you can't, if you're coming in late to the video, you can't just jump into this one. You kind of have to start from the beginning and go all the way to here. In yoga, we call this cow face, or at least the part of the arms is cow face. And the reason for that, it's really weird, but it's supposed to be that what I'm going to do with my arms looks like the ears of cow. You have to really suspend your imagination for that. But we're just doing a little stretch, right? So have your strap handy, because I feel like a lot of you are going to need it. You can toss it over your shoulder and get your hair out of the way if you can. So in this stretch, whatever shoulder I'm gonna, I put that strap over. I'm gonna take the arm up above the head and then bend the elbow and reach for the back of the head, right? So now this might not be too complicated for some of you, but what I really want you to do is get this elbow back more and reach down for your shoulder. So if you can get your hand down on your shoulder, okay? Now the other arm is going to come over. We're going to drop the thumb and you're going to reach it around the back and try to clasp your hands together. So it's funny, I was just doing this last week and I was able to touch both of the fingers together, and I can feel how much tighter I am today. I'm not able to quite do it today. Also, it's raining out. So anytime it's raining, there's inflammation in your joints that will kind of come up. And so that will limit your flexibility a little bit. So you might notice, like on a sunny day, that your joints and your muscles are more flexible. And then on a rainy or a cold or a damp day, a little bit less. Right? So what I'm doing is I'm holding the strap with one hand and I'm holding the strap with the other hand, and I'm keeping it taut because I can't clasp my fingers together here. But I'm still just going to hold it and breathe. Do you see the cow's face? Like this is an ear and the other arm's an ear. It's a really weird pose name, but people love it. All right, so I'm going to release this side. Sometimes it takes me a minute to undo that side because this shoulder is an old injury. But you really will feel a lot of stuff moving. So if you condense this stretching down to even 15 minutes and you did it a couple times a day, you'd really keep your chest and arms flexible if you were working on the computer full time. All right, so now we're going to go to the other side. So you're going to flip that over, bring it to the other side. All right, and now we're going to try the same stretch. So bring the arm up, grab onto the back of your head first, just see where your flexibility is. But then you want to work that arm down your back to your shoulder. Get the elbow behind you. Maybe you have to hold the strap. The other hand comes out and you're going to turn the thumb down, reach around the back and bring it up. Okay, so this side, I can clasp my hands, so I don't need the strap. But maybe this side's tighter for you and you need the strap, and you hold the strap in each hand. Right? Doesn't matter. It's just interesting to know where your flexibility is different. Right? So keep breathing, keep stretching, keeping that elbow back and chest open. It's a really big stretch. Really great stretch. One of the more challenging ones, but definitely good. You're going to feel so much more energized to jump back on your computer after this. Maybe you'll be typing faster. Maybe your energy will be flowing and pouring out of your heart a little bit quicker. So many things that so many benefits when you just take a little time to stretch. Really good. If you do start to feel like I'm feeling in that the one arm that I have the injury, a little pins and needles, like I'm losing feeling or sensation, that'll happen. You can always come out of it early, or you can come back to it again, because repeating a stretch is good. All right, so I'm going to release that now. I really feel that. I really feel the energy in my arms. And just take a notice here, right? So you can take your hands and interlace the fingers, give a little push forward, come up over the head, then open the arms down around the back, interlace the fingers, pulling the shoulders back. Inhale back up. Interlace palms up, come forward, and release, right? Now, if that all felt good, then you know you really stretched and opened the arms and chest. I'll run through that with you one more time. Interlace your fingers, push your palms forward. So feeling the stretch in the arms, bring it over the head, really give a good stretch up. Release the hands, bring them behind your back, interlace your fingers, open your chest, look up. You can even do the thing that I showed you where you reverse your wrists back. Get a bigger opening there. Then take the hands up, interlace the fingers, spin those palms up in front of the chest again, and release. Oh, I feel like maybe we'll do it one more time, a third time. And you should really feel that energy flowing in the upper body. All right, so last time, and then we'll call it a day on the arm, chest, and upper back stretch. So here we go. Hands together, interlace, palms forward. Inhale up. Stretch around the back, interlace your hands. Pull the shoulders back, maybe twist the wrists back. Move the arms away from your body. Inhale back up. Stretch the palms to the sky. In front of the heart. And last one, hands to the heart. There we go. So that was a full stretching class for all the muscles from the wrist all the way up into the shoulders to your chest and upper back. I hope you enjoyed that stretching class. I think that you'll probably want to do this a couple of times a day, or at least once a day. Set your timers for this stretch at least every 20 minutes that you're on the computer. And if you have a long day on the computer or working, go ahead and do this full stretch routine once or twice a day. You'll feel a big, big difference. All right, so that's it for today, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.